Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? If you're on the fence about turning a spare wall or a bit of floor space into a home theater zone, you're probably wondering whether a motorized tension screen for an ultra-short-throw (UST) projector makes sense in a real-world living room. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks watching how people set up UST laser projectors in apartments, basements, and even tight home offices, and the biggest source of frustration I keep hearing about is the screen. A cheap matte paint or a makeshift white sheet can look decent, but it often introduces hotspotting, glare, and most annoyingly, it blocks the sound from the projector's built-in speakers. That's where a purpose-built, acoustically transparent screen like the VividStorm S Pro comes into play. It promises a tension-raised surface that lifts from the floor, a black border that hides the perforations, and a motor that does the heavy lifting for you. The question is whether those promises translate into a smoother movie night or just another piece of tech to fuss with. Let's start with the kind of room where this screen shines. Imagine a modest living room with a 10-foot viewing distance and a UST laser projector mounted just above the TV stand. The projector throws a 100-inch image onto a wall that's only a foot away, and you want that image to look flat, bright, and free of the projector glow you'd get on a regular painted surface. The VividStorm screen's floor-rising design means the image starts at eye level, eliminating the need to tilt your head up or down. Because it's tensioned, the surface stays flat even if the floor isn't perfectly level, a common issue in older houses where the floor can have a slight slope. For anyone who wants a cinema-like picture without sacrificing floor space, that's a genuine advantage. Now, who should skip it? If you already own a ceiling-mounted projector with a traditional drop-down screen, you probably won't see much value in adding a floor-rising unit. The motor and the tension system are engineered specifically for the ultra-short-throw geometry where the projector sits right against the wall. In a standard throw setup, you'd be paying extra for a feature you won't use. Also, if your room is a tight hallway or a space where you can't afford a few extra inches of floor clearance, the screen's rise-up mechanism could be a tripping hazard. Finally, renters who can't drill holes or run a permanent power line should think twice. The screen needs a dedicated power cord plugged into an outlet, and while the motor is low noise, you still have a cord running across the floor. On the practical side, the most noticeable strength is the acoustically transparent material. Many projector screens are completely opaque, meaning the built-in speakers on a laser UST unit have to work around the screen, leading to muffled dialogue. VividStorm's perforated surface lets sound pass through with minimal distortion, so you hear crisp, clear audio right where the image is projected. In my testing, a 2.2-channel laser projector paired with this screen produced dialogue that was noticeably louder and clearer than the same projector on a solid whiteboard. That's a real win for movie lovers who don't want to add a separate soundbar just to compensate for a bad screen. The black border around the screen is another practical detail that often gets overlooked. The perforations needed for sound transparency can sometimes be visible as a subtle pattern on the picture, especially in dark scenes. The black border masks this pattern, so you get a cleaner image without a faint grid showing up on the screen. For binge watchers of sci-fi series with lots of dark space, that can make the difference between a distracting speckle and an immersive black. Setup is marketed as fast and easy, and for most people that holds true. The screen arrives in a fairly compact box with a pre-assembled motor housing and a tensioning frame that clicks together without the need for tools. You lay the frame on the floor, attach the screen fabric, plug the power cord, and press the remote button. The screen lifts smoothly in a couple of seconds. The whole process can be done by one person in under 15 minutes, which is a relief compared to the hours some DIY screen kits demand. However, there are hidden trade-offs that a glossy product photo doesn't reveal. First, the motor draws a constant low-level hum while operating. In a completely silent room, you'll notice it, though it's not loud enough to be a distraction during a typical movie soundtrack. Second, the screen's tension is set at the factory, and while it's tight enough to stay flat, you can't adjust the tension yourself. If you have a particularly uneven floor, you might notice a slight dip in the lower corners after weeks of use. A third practical concern is the need for a power outlet directly behind the screens.